There are moments in life when your heart feels heavier than usual, not because the world is against you, but because the war is within you. And that's the kind of war no one sees, no one hears, and no one comes to save you from. You walk around with questions that grow louder every night. You lay down next to the one you promised to trust forever, and yet somehow you are unsure. You look into her eyes and want to believe everything is fine, that the silence is innocent, that the distance is circumstantial, but a voice inside whispers, "Are you sure she's loyal? Are you sure she still loves you?" That voice doesn't always scream. Sometimes it's calm, rational, even convincing, and that makes it dangerous. Because when you start doubting the very person you love, you're not just doubting her. You're doubting the choices you made, the promises you gave, the life you built. And that doubt can eat away at you until you no longer recognize yourself or her or what you both once had. Before I go deep into this message, if you're watching this, I want to ask you to pause for a second and do something simple but important. If this resonates with you even a little, if your heart is nodding while your mind is racing like this video right now, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss these truths when you need them most, and drop your struggles in the comments below. Tell me where it hurts, what keeps you awake at night, what you want to fix, or maybe what you're afraid to say out loud. Let's grow together, not alone. Now let's talk about this doubt, because doubt is not just an emotion. It's a poison, slow and silent. It doesn't show up as an explosion, as likes or dislikes, as a glance at her phone, as a "why didn't she text back faster?" It shows up as suspicion over a smile, frustration over laughter with someone else, overthinking a conversation that should have been just that, a conversation. And suddenly, love doesn't feel like love anymore. It feels like surveillance. It feels like investigation. It feels like you're trying to catch the person you vowed to protect. But let me ask you something. When did you stop seeing her as your partner and start seeing her as a potential threat? When did you replace connection with inspection? You didn't fall in love with her to watch her. You didn't build a life just to monitor her. So what changed? Sometimes it's her actions, sometimes it's your past, sometimes it's both. Maybe someone betrayed you before and you swore it would happen again, so now your guard is always up, even with the one person who hasn't broken your trust. Or maybe she did something small, unintentional, but it triggered everything you thought you buried, and now your mind replays scenarios that never happened, tells stories with no proof, and finds evidence where there is none. This isn't just about her, this is about you, this is about the man you want to be, this is about becoming the kind of husband who doesn't just demand trust, but earns it, lives it, gives it every day. Because love is not just about being right. It's about being real. Real with your fears. Real with your insecurities. Real with your commitment. And I know what you might be thinking. But what if I'm right? What if she is hiding something? Let me tell you this. If you approach your relationship from a place of constant doubt, even the most loyal woman will begin to feel unsafe. And people don't grow in fear. They shrink, they hide, they pull away. So even if your fear started out as false, your actions can create the very distance you were afraid of in the first place. You are not weak for having fears. You are human. But what makes you a strong man is how you handle those fears. You don't let them control you. You confront them. You understand them. And most importantly, you communicate them with love, not accusation, with curiosity, not judgment. Stop playing detective and start playing husband. Be the man she chose, not the man who second guesses her every move, because love without trust isn't love, it's a prison, and both of you deserve better than that. You've got to ask yourself, what kind of love do I want to build? Do I want a love that is always waiting for proof of failure, or a love that dares to believe in something greater, deeper, stronger than fear? Do I want a marriage where my wife feels like she's constantly on trial, or a marriage where she feels like she's home? Start with this. Remember why you chose her. Go back to that moment when you looked at her and thought, I want to spend my life with you. What did you see in her? What made you believe? That belief wasn't blind. It was rooted in something real. Maybe time, maybe friendship, maybe shared dreams. That belief was your compass. But somewhere along the way, storms came and you forgot how to read it. Now's the time to find it again, relearn her, fall in love with her again. Not the woman she actually is. Ask her questions, not interrogations, but real soul-opening questions like, what makes you feel seen by me? Is there anything I've done that made you feel misunderstood? How can I be a safer place for you emotionally? Listen to her answers. Don't defend, don't deflect, just listen. That's how trust is built. By presence, not pressure. Let her see your vulnerability. Let her know you're afraid, not because you're healing from wounds she didn't cause. And if she's the woman you believe she is, she won't run from that truth. She'll stand beside you and help you build something unshakable. And if she doesn't, then maybe your doubt wasn't just fear, it was intuition. But you'll never know unless you stop reacting and start revealing, start healing, start leading with love, not fear. You're a man, and you were not born to crumble under suspicion. You were born to rise with clarity, to fight for peace, to protect what matters with strength, not a paranoia. Real love is not weak. It is the most powerful force on this earth. It doesn't just survive doubt, it transforms it. But transformancy requires work. It requires consistency. You don't wake up one day and stop doubting. You train your mind, you train your heart, you take accountability for your triggers, you seek counseling if you need to, you journal your thoughts, you pray if that's your thing, you breathe before you accuse, you pause before you react. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. And if you really want to stop doubting your wife, start building a deeper relationship with her. Not just surface level love, but intimacy of the mind and soul. Start complimenting her again, not just for how she looks, but for who she is. Start dating her again. Start showing up not just as a provider, but as a presence. Because women don't cheat when they're truly cherished. And most women aren't even thinking about betrayal. They're thinking about bills, stress, motherhood, their body image, their value. They're asking silently, am I enough? And when you're too busy doubting her, you miss the chance to answer her with your love. Love her loudly, trust her deeply, and work on yourself relentlessly, because half the time your doubt isn't about her, it's about the unhealed version of you. And no relationship can be strong when the foundation is cracked. So start sealing those cracks, not with control, but with courage. Not with silence, but with honest conversation. You deserve peace, she deserves trust. And together you deserve a love that doesn't just survive the storms, but dances in the rain. Now take this moment and make a decision. Not just to stop doubting, but to start loving better. You can't control every thought, but you can control your focus. You can choose to feed the fear, or you can choose to feed the faith. Which one grows? The one you water. So water your marriage with trust, with hope, with intentional action. You're not too broken to be whole. Your relationship is not too far gone to be restored. Doubt may have started the chapter, but it doesn't have to write the ending. The ending is up to you. And if this spoke to your heart, I want you to like this video now, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Tell me your story. Tell me what you're struggling with. Let's heal together. Let's build a generation of men who don't just claim to love, but live it, give it, and protect it. Because real love starts when fear ends. And the only way to stop doubting her is to start believing in something bigger, yourself, your growth, your future, and most of all, in her. There's a moment in every man's life when he looks in a mirror, not to shave, not to fix his hair, not to adjust his collar, but to confront the ghost staring back at him, the part of him that's been silently shaping his choices, his emotions, and most dangerously, his love. And that ghost is called doubt. It doesn't show up with a bang or a scream. It shows up quietly, slowly in the most intimate parts of your life. It shows up when you see your wife glance at her phone and your chest tightens for no reason. It shows up when she laughs at something someone else says, and suddenly your mind is no longer in the room. It's racing, it's spiraling, it's questioning things she didn't even say. It shows up when she tells you she's tired and you wonder if she's just tired of you. This doubt, it doesn't start with her. It starts with you. It starts in the unhealed places of your heart you never learned how to talk about. Before we go further, if you're hearing this and something inside you is stirring, if you feel like I'm speaking to something you never told anyone, I want you to like this video right now. Subscribe to this channel, because what we speak here is not fluff, it's truth. And it just might save your heart. Drop your story in the comments, or even just the one word that keeps repeating in your head. Let's stop pretending and start healing. You're not alone. Now listen closely, because this may hurt, but it will also free you. Doubt is not always a red flag about her actions. Sometimes it's a reflection of your past, screaming for attention. Sometimes it's not what she did, it's what someone else did before her. And now you've got a wound that never got cleaned, never got stitched, never got spoken about. And now it's bleeding all over someone who didn't cause it. Let me say it plainly. Your wife isn't the enemy. Your past is. And until you face it, until you bring it out of the shadows, it will keep stealing your peace, your clarity, your love. You have to ask yourself the hard questions. Why do I flinch at small things? Why does silence between us make me panic? Why do I feel the need to check, to question, to dig? What am I actually afraid of? Because it's not always her cheating. Sometimes it's the fear of not being enough. Sometimes it's the belief that you're unworthy of loyalty. Sometimes it's the old voice of a parent who left. A woman who lied, a moment when you gave your heart and it got crushed. And now, even though you're in a different relationship with a different woman in a different time, you are leaving the same fear on repeat. Doubt has memory. It remembers every betrayal, every lie, every disappointment. And if you don't confront those memories, they will disguise themselves as logic, as instinct, as intuition. But here's the thing. There's a big difference between intuition and insecurity. Intuition is calm. Intuition is rooted in clarity. Insecurity is loud. Insecurity is anxious. Insecurity needs proof every day. And if you don't know the difference, you will destroy your relationship trying to protect it. You have to decide, do I want to be right or do I want to be healed? Because sometimes your doubt is not a sign that something's wrong with her. It's a sign that something's unfinished in you. And here's what healing looks like. It looks like sitting down with your fear instead of running from it. It looks like tracing the origin of your trust issues, not blaming your partner for them. It looks like admitting that even strong men can carry wounds. It looks like choosing to love with an open heart even when the past tries to slam it shut. The truth is, a lot of men never learned how to deal with emotional pain. We were taught to push it down, to man up, to distract ourselves, to bury it under work, sex, success, or silence. But buried pain doesn't disappear, it just waits. And when it sees love, real love walking toward you, it panics. Because love requires vulnerability, and vulnerability reminds you of the time you were hurt. So instead of embracing the one who loves you, you guard yourself. You test her. You pull away. You accuse. You build a wall and call it wisdom. But it's not wisdom. It's fear in disguise. Brother, hear me. You cannot build a healthy relationship on a foundation of suspicion. You cannot protect love by questioning it daily. And you cannot expect her to stay soft when she constantly has to prove her loyalty to a man who doesn't trust himself. Because that's what this really is, isn't it? At the core, this is about you not trusting yourself, your ability to choose well, to recognize truth, to be enough, to be loved without being lied to. But what if I told you that your past does not define your ability to trust? What if I told you that healing doesn't start with her convincing you? It starts with you confronting you. Your fear doesn't make you broken. It makes you real. But staying stuck in that fear, that's a choice. And it's a choice that leads to regret. So here's what you do. You face it. You go to that place inside of you that still remembers the betrayal, the abandonment, the failure, and you grieve it. You stop pretending it didn't affect you. You stop acting like it was no big deal. You name it, you feel it, and then you release it. You write it out. You speak it to a counselor. You cry if you have to. You stop hiding from your own pain. Because what you don't face, you repeat. And after you face it, you replace it. You replace the fear with facts. Is your wife showing you loyalty? Is she showing up for the relationship? Is she consistent, honest, committed? Then believe her. Not because you're blind, but because you're brave. Real trust is not about the absence of risk. It's about the presence of love that's stronger than the fear. You have to choose to see her clearly, not through the lens of your past, but through the truth of your present. Who is she? What has she shown you? Not what your fear says she might do, but what your actions say she has done. Because when you look at someone through the lens of your fear, you'll see shadows where there are none. You'll hear lies in the silence. You'll create distance where there was none. And eventually your fear will become a prophecy. Not because she changed, but because your doubt pushed her away. This is the moment you decide to stop letting your wounds speak louder than your wisdom. You are not a victim of your past. You are the author of your present. And if you want a marriage that thrives, not just survives, you must become a man who trusts, a man who heals, a man who knows that love is not control. Love is courage. Courage to open your heart. Courage to past instead of accuse, courage to love without conditions, courage to believe that not every story ends in betrayal. Look at her, really look at her. The woman beside you is not your enemy. She is not your ex. She is not your childhood trauma. She is not the woman who broke your heart in college. She is your wife. She is the woman who chose you, who wakes up next to you, who builds a life with you. She deserves the best of you, not the bruised, guarded, fearful version. And you deserve peace, not constant suspicion, not a restless mind that plays games with imaginary enemies. So here's the commitment, not just to her, but to yourself. Commit to healing, commit to self-awareness, commit to doing the work, read the books, seek therapy, meditate, journal, talk to mentors, pray. Do whatever it takes to break free from the chains of your past. Because every ounce of healing you choose is one less drop of doubt in your relationship. And I promise you, when you start to trust yourself, when you start to heal the parts of you that still ache, you will see her differently. You will stop being afraid of her independence. You will stop panicking when she needs space. You will stop resenting her for things she never did. You will start loving her with clarity, not confusion. And that clarity, it's where peace lives. It's where real intimacy grows. It's where love finally becomes what it was meant to be: safe, strong, sacred. So to every man listening right now, I say this with all the urgency in my soul: do not let doubt destroy what fear didn't even build. Stop measuring her faithfulness by the echoes of your past. Stop looking at her through broken lenses. She deserves a healed man, and you deserve to become one. You are more than your pain. You are more than your fear. You are more than your doubt. You are capable of deep trust, radical love, and lasting peace. But it starts with honesty. It starts with courage. It starts with facing the truth that your doubt might not be her fault. It might be your wound, and wounds don't heal by hiding. They heal by light. So step into the light, let her see you, let yourself see you, and then laugh at everything you've got without fear, without chains, without the weight of the past. And if this has spoken to your heart, don't leave this moment unchanged. Like this video now, subscribe so we can keep walking this road together. Drop a comment below. Tell me your truth. What are you healing from? What part of your heart needs rest? Let's speak life into it together, because the journey to trust doesn't start with her. It starts with you. She stood in the kitchen making tea, her eyes tired but full of love. You walked in and glanced at her, and something dark crossed your mind. A whisper, a seed of suspicion fed by insecurity, not by evidence. You noticed her phone light up earlier. You saw a smile when she read the message. You didn't ask who it was. You assumed. You let the doubt creep in, and with it came distance. You turned your back, not just on her body, but on her soul. And yet, she kept pouring your tea with the same kindness, the same hands that held your head when you were broken, the same heart that bled for you when no one else stood by your side. Let me ask you something from the depths of my heart, from a place not of judgment, but of painful truth. When did you stop seeing her as your partner, your queen, your closest friend, and start treating her like an enemy who needs to be monitored? When did you let the poison of suspicion replace the pure waters of trust? This is not love. This is not leadership. This is fear dressed in the mask of protection. This is control camouflaged as care. And this is the beginning of the end if you don't wake up right now. Before we go deeper into this powerful message, I want to ask you to do something. If you feel the tremble in your heart right now, if these words hit somewhere between guilt and awakening, then like this video, subscribe to the channel so we can grow stronger together. And in the comments, tell me what you are struggling with. Let your voice be heard, because this is more than just a speech. It's a movement. A call to become better, to lead better, to love better. Now listen closely. She didn't sign up for a life of interrogation. She didn't marry you to be under constant surveillance. She chose you because she believed you were her safety, not her prison. Do you understand the difference? A safe man allows a woman to be fully herself. A suspicious man shrinks her, corners her, makes her afraid to even breathe freely. You might not be yelling, you might not be hitting, but your eyes, your silence, your constant questioning, that's a wound she's learning to carry like a quiet bruise. And what's worse, your suspicion doesn't even come from her behavior. It comes from your own fear, your own insecurity, maybe even from the betrayal you experienced in the past that you never healed from. But you made a vow, didn't you? Not just to stay with her, but to protect her, to uplift her, to be her peace. Yet somewhere along the way, you became her storm. Do you even realize what it costs a woman to stay silent under that pressure? Do you know how much it takes from her spirit to feel constantly doubted by the man she gives her entire world to? She wakes up every day trying to love you, to care for you, to bring light into your life. And instead of being greeted by warmth, she's met with shadows. Cold glances, interrogations disguised as conversation. You check her phone when she's in the shower. You monitor her social media. You question why she takes too long at the store. You raise an eyebrow when she laughs at a message. You don't even need evidence anymore. Your fear is the evidence. But brother, listen to me. You are killing your own garden. You are stepping on the roses that bloomed for you. You want to know why she's quieter now? Why she doesn't look at you the way she used to? Why there's hesitation in her steps, a tremble in her words, a distance in her eyes? It's not because she's hiding something. It's because she doesn't feel safe with you emotionally. It's because your suspicion has become a weapon. And every time you use it, you cut deeper into her ability to trust you. And here's the cruel irony. While you're doubting her, she is praying for you. While you're building walls, she is still trying to build a home. While you're lost in your own mistrust, she is silently wondering how much longer she can keep sacrificing her peace just to prove she is loyal. She is not your enemy. She is not your project. She is not your property. She's your partner. And the moment you treat her like something to be monitored rather than someone to be loved, you've already lost the very foundation of your marriage. You want a loyal woman, then be a trusting man. You want a peaceful home, then be a peaceful presence. You want respect, then give security. It's not weakness to trust, it's strength. Any fool can be suspicious. Any wounded man can accuse, but it takes a healed man to love without fear. Have you forgotten who she is? This is the woman who sat beside you when you are unemployed. This is the woman who cried with you at night when life didn't make sense. This is the woman who believed in you when you didn't believe in yourself. And now you repay her by making her feel like she's walking on eggshells in her own home. That's not protection, that's punishment, and she doesn't deserve it. You think checking her messages gives you power, but what it really does is expose your pain. You think controlling her movements gives you peace, but it only reveals your chaos. You think suspicion keeps your relationship safe, but what it really does is slowly destroy the love she once had for you. Real men don't build fences, they build foundations, they don't spy. They support, they don't accuse. They ask, they listen, they trust. Because trust is not blind, trust is brave. Trust says, I love you enough to give you freedom. I believe in you enough to not need chains. And let me tell you something else that's uncomfortable but necessary. If she ever was to betray you, all your suspicions still wouldn't stop it, because loyalty isn't built through fear, it's built through respect. You want to be loved with fire? Then stop freezing her spirit with your doubts. Look at your marriage. Really look. Is it a place of joy or a place of tension? Is your wife blossoming or shrinking? Is she radiant or is she walking on emotional eggshells? Do you even notice her anymore? her dreams, her passions, her quiet cries? Or are you too busy playing detective in a crime that hasn't even been committed? You have the power to change this. You have the power to rebuild the trusts you destroyed. But it starts with accountability. It starts with facing yourself in the mirror and asking the hard question, am I loving her the way she deserves? Or am I punishing her for the wounds I refuse to heal? Don't wait until she's gone to realize what you had. Don't wait until her smile is no longer yours. Don't wait until the silence in the house is deafening and her scent on the pillow is just a memory. Wake up, man, wake up. Before it's too late. Let this be your turning point, not just for your marriage, but for your manhood. Because real masculinity is not about power, it's about protection. It's not about control, it's about compassion. It's not about suspicion, it's about sacred trust. If you truly love her, set her free from your suspicion. Give her the gift of your trust. Let her feel safe in your presence again. Make your arms a shelter, not a cage. And if you are reading this and thinking, but what if she is not loyal? Then I say this to you. That question says more about your fear than her faithfulness. Because if you live in constant suspicion, you will never know peace, even with the most loyal partner in the world. Heal your heart, strengthen your soul, and most importantly, honor your woman. Because trust is not just what she deserves, it's what she needs in order to become the woman she was born to be by your side. Now, I want you to sit alone with this message. Don't deflect. Don't get defensive. Don't justify. Just feel it. Let the truth burn away the lies. Let the tears come if they need to. That's not weakness. That's awakening. And if you still love her, there is still a fire left in your heart, then go to her. Look her in the eyes. Apologize not for your suspicion, but for the fear that made you forget how beautiful trust can be. Then promise her this. From this day forward, she will be loved with trust, not watched with doubt. Cherished with peace, not caged by fear. Respected in presence, not monitored in absence, because you are more than your fear and she is more than your suspicion. Together you can still build something holy. And remember this, your wife is not your suspect. She's your sacred gift and you were never meant to be her warrior. Love her like that. She stood by you when you had nothing. She chose you when the world didn't see your worth. She believed in your potential even before you believed in yourself. When you were knocked down by life, she picked you up with hands that shook but never failed. She didn't ask for diamonds, only devotion. She didn't demand the moon, just meaning. And now, years later, what do you offer her in return for her faithfulness, her resilience, her unbreakable loyalty? Suspicion, that silent storm, the bruise in your heart, that shadow that creeps into your eyes, that shade of doubt you let grow until it chokes every flower of trust she once planted in your soul. You call it protect. You tell yourself you're just watching out for her, just keeping things safe, just doing what any responsible man would do. But let me speak a truth that may sting before it heals. Suspicion is not protection, it's destruction. And every time you let it guide your actions, you're not guarding your marriage. You're grinding it down. You are not protecting your woman. You are poisoning the very love you once promised to preserve. And here's the dangerous part. Suspicion doesn't come with a loud voice. It whispers. It sneaks in during quiet moments. You don't even see it building its walls, but she does. She feels the distance. She notices how you no longer meet her eyes with softness. She sees how you stiffen when her phone buzzes. She hears the coldness in your tone when you ask who was that, masked as casual curiosity but soaked in hidden accusation. She senses the shift in your energy, and every ounce of it feels like betrayal to a heart that only ever wanted to love you openly, honestly, and fully. Why do we, as men, mistake control for care? Why do we confuse suspicion with strength? Somewhere, someone taught you that if you watch closely enough, if you check her phone, question her timing, monitor her steps, you'll keep her from hurting you. But what they didn't tell you is that in trying to prevent your pain, you are causing hers. In trying to preempt betrayal, you are committing one of your own, betraying the trust she placed in you when she chose to give you her heart. Love is not a prison, and trust is not surveillance. You cannot love someone and treat them like a suspect. You cannot build a kingdom with someone if you're always searching for secret tunnels. The foundation of a home is trust, and suspicion is like termites in the wood. Silently, it destroys everything strong and sacred from within. And I know some of you listening to this feel justified. You say, but I've been hurt before. I've been cheated on. I've seen what women are capable of. And I hear you. Your pain is real. Your scars are not imaginary. But let me ask you this. Did your current partner cause those scars? Did your wife betray you, or are you punishing her for a crime committed by someone else in a different chapter of your life? Because that is not justice. That is projection. And it's not just unfair. It's fatal to the love you are supposed to be building now. You cannot keep bleeding on someone who did not cut you. You cannot keep doubting someone who's done nothing but remain devoted. That's not love. That's fear disguised as logic, and is keeping you from experiencing the fullness of the very thing you claim you want: true, deep, transformative intimacy. Suspicion creates a version of you that your wife cannot fully relax around. It makes you a stranger she walks carefully around. She starts hiding things, not because she is guilty, but because she is tired of justifying her innocence. She gets quiet not because she is lying, but because she is exhausted from defending herself against an invisible war you created in your own mind. And when that happens, you lose her. Not to another man, but to emotional withdrawal, to silence, to distance, to heartbreak. She becomes a shell of herself around you, and still you wonder why. You don't realize that your suspicion dug a hole so deep it buried the woman who used to laugh freely, smile easily, and trust you with her full heart. Let's be honest with ourselves. What kind of love do you want? The kind that breathes or the kind that suffocates? Because love and suspicion cannot coexist. One will always kill the other. And if you don't actively choose trust, then by default, you are choosing dismantle everything sacred in your relationship. And here's the great irony. You fear being betrayed, but your suspicion makes that fear a prophecy. You push her so far away that she no longer feels seen. You corner her so often that she starts dreaming of escape, not because she is disloyal, but because she is drowning. And a woman who once would have walked through fire for you is now silently burning in the hell your distrust has created. Now, let me shift your focus. What would happen if you chose trust instead? I'm not saying blind ignorance. I'm saying strength. The strength to believe in the woman you married. The strength to stand in confidence, not crawl in fear. What would happen if you treated her not as a possible threat, but as a proven ally? What would change if you looked at her and said, I trust you, I believe in you, and even when I'm scared, I will not let that fear become your burden to carry. You know what happens when a woman feels trusted? She blossoms, she glows, she relaxes, she becomes fiercely loyal to the man who made her feel safe. Because nothing wins a woman's heart like the shelter of trust, not gifts, not trips, not expensive jewelry, but the steady, unwavering peace of being loved without suspicion. She is not looking for perfection from you. She is looking for protection, not from the world, but from the war you wage within yourself that too often spills into your relationship. She is looking for safety, not surveillance, support, not suspicion. And the truth is, if you cannot trust her, you should not be with her. Not because she's unworthy, but because you are not ready. Not ready to lead with love instead of fear. Not ready to give without guarding. Not ready to believe in something bigger than your insecurities. But I believe in you. I believe you can heal. I believe you can take your past pain and lay it down like old armor you no longer need. I believe you can stop being at war with a woman who only wants to love you. I believe you can make peace with your heart and build a love so solid, suspicion has no room to grow. So what does that look like? It looks like checking in, not checking up. It looks like communication, not interrogation. It looks like asking how her day was, not who she was with. It looks like offering her your phone with no fear and never demanding hers. It looks like sleeping peacefully at night, not scrolling through her Instagram likes. Looks like being the kind of man whose self-worth is strong enough that he doesn't crumble at every shadow his mind creates. Because the reality is you are either building your marriage up or tearing it down. There is no in between. Suspicion is slow erosion. It's a quiet killer. It doesn't just attack her, it rots you. It makes you paranoid, bitter, restless. It takes your peace, your joy, your ability to simply love and be loved. And worst of all, it convinces you that this is normal, that it's how love works. But it isn't. Real love is free, not reckless, but free. Free to breathe, free to trust, free to make mistakes and grow. Free to love each other fully without fear haunting every word, every glance, every silence. And when that kind of love exists, it's unstoppable. So I ask you again, who do you want to be? The man who guarded his heart so tightly that he lost the one person who only ever wanted to be inside it? Or the man who chose to trust, who chose to believe, who chose love, even when fear whispered otherwise? Your wife deserves trust, not suspicion. She deserves a man who sees her, not a man who spies on her. She deserves freedom, not fear. She deserves peace, not paranoia. And you, my brother, deserve that too. You deserve to be the kind of man who is so rooted in self-worth, so grounded in emotional maturity that suspicion doesn't find a home in your heart. You deserve to experience a love that's free from the torment of fear. But it starts with a choice, a daily, deliberate choice to choose trust over torment, to choose healing over hiding, to choose growth over guarding. Suspicion is not protection, it is destruction, dressed in the clothes of concern. And if you don't cast it out now, it will destroy everything you once called secret. Choose better, love better, be better. And when the time comes to look into your wife's eyes and say, I trust you, let those words be more than a sentence. Let them be a promise. a new beginning, a return to the kind of love that builds instead of breaks, that breathes instead of suffocates, that lasts instead of withers, because trust is the soil in which love grows. And suspicion? Suspicion is the flame that burns it all to ash. Let this be the day you choose not to burn anymore. Let this be the day you build.